when I talk about related party transactions, what I basically mean is companies, when they're doing deals, sometimes they're doing it with other companies that are in the same group, or with relatives. It could be with your brother. It could be with friends. And for that purpose, that can be very positive. When you're doing business with someone you know and trust, you can be sure that you're doing a deal that can work well, and there can be certain efficiencies to that. But there's also a risk, and that's the risk that was the subject of the discussion this morning, which is in a listed company where there are also minority shareholders and normally a controlling shareholder. If the controlling shareholder has the power to make a deal with other companies that he also has control of, or with others that he has a relationship with, there is a risk that the deal can be done in a way that has more advantages to him, extracting wealth from the company, and costing the company and the minority shareholders some of the value of their investment. So what the session was all about was trying to figure out what are the most effective ways to ensure that you can communicate to the investors that you are taking the precautions and have the safeguards in place to ensure that these are transactions that are conducted at a fair market value so that everybody has an equal treatment in their investments. I think one of the key agreements in the session was to create a task force that will involve not only regulators but also other key players like investors and companies, experts such as from corporate governance institutes that can get together and look at these issues from the perspective of all the market players, because there's not one player that can solve this issue. There are safeguards at the company level in terms of approvals by boards. There's an issue of transparency and ensuring good disclosure of these related party transactions so that the shareholders can be clear or have a level of comfort that they're being done in a fair way. And then you need to have enforcement practices in place in cases where there's abuse. We had the agreement at the meeting for at least several countries such as Chile, Argentina, Brazil, Colombia, Mexico, Peru, that appear to be interested to move ahead with this group to look at specific recommendations in each country's context, because one of the things that we found was that each country had different legal frameworks and approaches, and so that you couldn't just adopt a one-size-fits-all approach. They needed to go dig deeper into these issues and develop specific recommendations that could be reported back eventually to the Roundtable through the task force to promote further actions that could improve the effectiveness of the framework to ensure that these related party transactions are a positive thing in the region and not an abusive thing.